Being chosen is living in a dimension that few understand. There is a calling that echoes in your soul, something profound that awakens a greater awareness of the world around you. But with this awakening comes the burden of isolation. It's not ordinary loneliness. It is spiritual loneliness, where your vision and mission seem far from the realities that others live. And along the journey, this isolation can turn into a weight, draining your energy, clouding your clarity, and blocking the path you were destined to follow. Recognizing that isolation is becoming an emotional prison is essential to rediscovering spiritual freedom. In this text, we will explore 11 signs that the loneliness, which was once a moment of introspection, may be turning into an obstacle for your progress as a chosen one. 1. Excessive activity on social media. A search for validation and recognition that never fulfills. There is a continuous, almost insatiable hunger that many chosen ones feel when diving into social media. You may find yourself scrolling through platforms, not out of curiosity, but in a subconscious search to fill an internal void that seems to grow. The time you spend on social media is not just a distraction. It reflects an attempt to find meaningful connection in an inherently superficial environment. Imagine yourself endlessly scrolling through the screen, searching for content that sparks something inside you. Likes, comments, shares. Everything seems so fleeting and empty. Even when you receive likes, there's a part of you that knows this isn't what really matters. These interactions don't touch your soul. They don't give you the true validation you desire, because deep down, what you're seeking is recognition of something much greater, your spiritual calling. As a chosen one, this need to be recognized and understood is natural. You carry a purpose within you, something that is hard for most people to grasp. This can create a feeling of such deep isolation that social media becomes a temporary escape. However, this digital hunger cannot fill what you truly desire, a genuine connection with your essence and with the spiritual world. This constant digital activity can actually increase your loneliness, because instead of finding what you seek, you end up getting lost in empty interactions. Social media, while offering the illusion of connection, does not have the depth needed to touch your soul. It may provide moments of distraction, but it does not provide the healing you need. To break out of this cycle, you first need to recognize that what you are searching for on social media is not what you truly need. True connection comes from silence, introspection, and encountering yourself. By disconnecting from the digital noise and allowing your mind and spirit to find a space of quiet, you begin to hear the inner voice that has always been present, but was drowned out by distractions. This inner voice is where you will find real validation, true connection, and the recognition your soul so deeply desires. You don't need the approval of hundreds of likes or comments to validate your existence. Your mission as a chosen one is already validated by something much greater, something divine. Remember that your value does not lie in the number of followers or the amount of likes, but in the spiritual impact you have on the world, even if that impact has not yet been recognized by everyone. 2. Sleeping excessively, escaping reality or seeking refuge. Sleep for many is a time of rest and rejuvenation, but for the chosen, when the weight of loneliness becomes overwhelming, sleep can turn into a silent and persistent escape. Perhaps you've noticed that the simple act of closing your eyes has become a way to escape reality, not just for a few hours, but for days on end. Imagine waking up after hours of deep sleep, but instead of feeling refreshed, you feel even more tired, more drained. It's as if sleep, instead of restoring your energy, is draining your vitality. This happens because when we use sleep as an escape, The emotional and spiritual weight does not disappear during rest. On the contrary, it infiltrates our dreams, our emotions, and becomes even heavier when we wake. Sleeping excessively is often a reflection that your soul is seeking peace, but isn't finding it in the waking world. You may feel overwhelmed by the pressure of your mission as a chosen one, by the sense that no one around you really understands what you are going through. This makes the real world seem oppressive, leading you to seek refuge in sleep, where, for at least a few hours, you can disconnect from the pain, the loneliness, and the responsibilities. However, sleep cannot be a substitute for facing these emotions. When you use sleep as an escape, you are postponing the healing process. You are avoiding looking within yourself and confronting the feelings that need to be worked through. The result is a continuous exhaustion, a sense that no matter how much you sleep, you will never truly feel rested. Healing comes when you recognize that sleep cannot heal your soul. It is a necessary pause. But true renewal comes from confronting your fears, your pains, and your loneliness head-on. Face reality, even if it seems painful. God is with you in every step of this journey, and instead of fleeing into sleep, you can find strength in silence, meditation, and spiritual connection. Allow yourself to wake up, both physically and spiritually. By doing this, you will discover that although the path is difficult, the strength you need to continue has always been within you, waiting to be awakened. 3. Losing interest in your gifts. When isolation steals your source of joy, there is an incomparable beauty in being able to express your soul through your gifts. As a chosen one, your talents are not just hobbies or activities you do to pass the time. They are an extension of your being, a way to share the light you carry with the world. However, when the weight of loneliness sets in, this connection with your gifts can break, making what was once a source of joy now seem distant, unreachable. You may remember times when, while painting, writing, playing an instrument, or creating in any way, you felt completely aligned with your essence. It was as if, in that moment, time stood still, and you connected directly with divine energy. But now, those same activities seem like an effort. The brush that once moved easily now feels heavy. The words that once flowed naturally are now stuck, lifeless. This happens because isolation doesn't just affect your social interactions. It also affects the way you see yourself and how you relate to your passions. When you are disconnected from the outside world, you often disconnect from yourself. Loneliness creates an empty space inside you, and that void can drain the energy you would normally dedicate to your gifts. It's important to understand that this loss of interest is not a reflection of a lack of talent or inspiration. It is a symptom of something deeper, a sign that your soul is in need of renewal, of reconnection with the divine purpose you carry. Don't blame yourself for feeling this lack of enthusiasm. Instead, see it as an invitation to look within and rediscover what truly inspires you. Turning back to your gifts, even if it initially seems difficult, is a way to heal this disconnection. Start slowly, without the pressure of creating something grand. Simply allow yourself to be present in the moment of creation. Sometimes, the simple act of beginning is enough to reignite the flame. Your gifts are an expression of the divine, and by returning to them, you are reconnecting with the source of all creation. Remember, art, music, writing, whatever your gift, is a language of the soul. And as a chosen one, you have the power to transform isolation into an opportunity to create something beautiful and meaningful. The process of returning to your talents may be exactly what your soul needs to heal and rediscover joy. 4. Heightened sensitivity. When everything becomes an open wound. Have you ever felt so sensitive to the actions of others that suddenly small gestures seem loaded with meaning. An unanswered message, a word spoken indifferently, or the absence of someone you valued. All these things can start to feel like personal rejection, a way of saying you are not important or loved. As a chosen one, your sensitivity is sharper. You are attuned to the energies around you in a way that many people are not. However, when the weight of isolation bears down on you, this sensitivity can intensify to painful levels. What once was a simple interaction now turns into a deep emotional analysis. You begin to question if you said something wrong, if you did something to push people away, or if you are simply not worthy of others' company. This hypersensitivity is not a sign of weakness, but rather a manifestation of the emotional pain you carry. Isolation makes you feel disconnected from others, and this disconnection increases your need for validation. When this validation doesn't come, you start looking for reasons to explain why you feel so lonely. However, often these reasons are distorted interpretations of reality. It is essential that you begin to recognize when you are projecting your own insecurities and emotions onto others. The pain of isolation can distort your perception of reality, making you see rejection where there is none. When we feel emotionally vulnerable, we tend to view situations through the lens of our own pain, misinterpreting the intentions and actions of others. As a chosen one, you may be carrying an emotional burden that few understand. This increases the weight of your journey, but also makes you more susceptible to misinterpretations. Instead of getting lost in thoughts of rejection or hurt, practice self-compassion and discernment. Remember that the world around you may be so absorbed in its own challenges and struggles that often a delay in responding or a lack of attention has nothing to do with you. This process of discernment is fundamental to easing the burden of hypersensitivity. When you start to separate your internal emotions from the actions of others, you realize that not everything is a direct response to what you are feeling. Recognizing this will allow you to relieve the emotional weight you are carrying and restore your inner peace. The practice of observing your reactions, of taking a step back before responding, can help you find clarity. Sometimes what seems like an affront is actually a situation that has nothing to do with you. Don't let the weight of loneliness affect your judgment and steal your peace. God has called you to something greater, and part of this journey is learning to deal with the emotions and reactions that arise along the way. 5. The intense desire for deep connections, an endless search for something real. As a chosen one, there is a depth within you that cries out to be understood. You long for connections that go beyond superficiality, relationships that touch your soul, that understand the complexity of your journey, and that share your beliefs and purpose. However, this search for authentic connections can become a burden when isolation feels suffocating. You may be surrounded by people but still feel completely alone. Everyday conversations seem empty, lifeless. The feeling of being in an environment where no one really understands your emotions, your deepest thoughts, and your mission can be overwhelming. You long for a true exchange, something that goes beyond formalities, but it seems that no one around you is willing or able to offer that. This intense desire for true connections is not a sign of weakness or neediness, but of a soul that knows what it means to live with purpose. You don't seek relationships for convenience. You want bonds that nourish your soul, that help you grow, and that share the spiritual vision you carry. However, this search can become painful when it seems that these connections are always out of reach. As a chosen one, you are called to live on a deeper level of consciousness, and this may mean that your social connections will be different from those of most people. You may find it difficult to relate to those who are more concerned with trivial matters, and this can make you feel isolated. However, know that these true connections do exist. They may not be immediate, but in the right time, God will bring the right people into your life. In the meantime, it's important that you don't despair. Use this time of waiting to dive even deeper into your inner journey. Connect with yourself, with your essence, and with your mission. Remember that the deepest and truest connections begin within you. When you are aligned with your own truth, you will naturally attract people who share the same vision and purpose. The loneliness you feel now is only temporary. It is preparing you for the connections that are yet to come. Keep believing and trusting that in due time, God will bring those who are destined to walk by your side. 6. Persistent exhaustion, when the weight of the soul becomes physical. You wake up in the morning, but it feels like you haven't slept. Every movement seems like an effort, as if an invisible force is draining your energy. This exhaustion you feel is not just physical. It is the result of an emotional and spiritual burden you've been carrying for a long time. As a chosen one, your spiritual journey is intense, and this intensity often manifests in your body. Persistent exhaustion is a sign that your soul is overwhelmed. Isolation, spiritual responsibilities, and the burden of carrying a mission that many do not understand all contribute to this deep fatigue. No matter how much you try to rest physically, it never seems enough. Your body is reflecting the weight your soul carries. This exhaustion may also be the result of fighting isolation for so long. Loneliness, especially for the chosen ones, is not just an absence of physical company. It is a spiritual and emotional disconnection from the world around you. You feel that no one understands what you are going through, and this lack of understanding wears you out. You try to stay strong, to continue your journey, but the weight seems to be getting heavier and heavier. The path to relieving this exhaustion is not found in more sleep or more physical rest, but in finding ways to recharge your spiritual energy. This may mean dedicating more time to meditation, prayer, or simply spending more time in silence, allowing your soul to find peace and balance. The energy you need will not come from the outside. It will come from within. It is important to remember that your mission as a chosen one requires you to be in tune with your own spiritual energy. When you are exhausted, your connection with God and with your mission may be compromised. Therefore, it is essential to take care of yourself, both physically and spiritually. Allow yourself moments of rest, not just for your body, but for your soul. Recognize the signs of exhaustion and know that it is perfectly normal to need a break. True strength comes from recognizing your limitations and seeking to renew your energy consciously. You do not need to carry all the weight alone. God is by your side, ready to renew your strength and guide you back to balance. By taking care of your soul, you will find that the exhaustion will start to fade, and your energy will be restored to continue your journey with renewed determination. 7. Avoiding social interactions, the contradiction of isolation. One of the most paradoxical aspects of loneliness is that, although you long to connect, you may end up avoiding social situations. This contradiction becomes a painful reality for many chosen ones. The weight of feeling out of place among groups of people, even those you consider close, can be so oppressive that the only solution seems to be avoiding these situations entirely. You create excuses not to attend parties, gatherings, or even a simple coffee with friends. Not because you don't want to be with them, but because the discomfort of feeling like you don't belong is unbearable. The conversations seem superficial, the smiles seem forced, and the idea of sharing your deepest thoughts with people who may not understand your journey seems impossible. As a chosen one, this feeling of isolation within social situations is intensified. Your soul craves depth, exchanges that transcend the trivialities of daily life. But what you encounter are dialogues that don't touch the essential. This feeling can make you prefer physical solitude to the presence of others. However, this self-imposed isolation can further aggravate the sense of disconnection. To break this cycle, it is important that you begin to seek encounters and moments of communion that truly nourish you. Look for those who share a similar spiritual journey or who, at least, respect and understand your mission. Isolation should not be your only way out, as it can distance you even further from your essence. 8. Physical symptoms. The body's language in response to loneliness. The soul and body are deeply connected. What you feel in your mind and spirit inevitably manifests in your body. Constant headaches, unexplained stomach discomfort, muscle tension, all of these can be signs that your soul is overwhelmed by loneliness and disconnection. When the soul carries a weight it cannot process, the body starts to speak. Every pain, every discomfort is a warning that something is wrong on a deeper level. And as a chosen one, your sensitivity to energies and emotions is heightened. The burden of isolation, when not confronted, can create a vicious cycle of emotional pain that manifests physically. If you have been experiencing these symptoms without an apparent cause, it is time to look within. Ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me? Where am I carrying emotional pain that I have not been able to release? The answer to these questions may be the beginning of the healing process, both physically and spiritually. Additionally, taking better care of your body, proper nutrition, exercise, adequate rest, can be a way to balance this weight. Your body is a temple, and it directly reflects the state of your soul. When you start to care for yourself better and ease your emotional tensions, you will notice that the physical weight will begin to lift as well. 9. Seeking refuge in fictional worlds, the attempt to escape reality. Fiction offers a tempting escape. Who hasn't found themselves lost in a marathon of TV series, immersed in a book, or watching movie after movie, as if that could silence the internal voice that cries out for something more? However, for the chosen, this retreat into imaginary worlds can be a sign that reality has become a burden too hard to bear. When loneliness becomes unbearably heavy, it is common to seek refuge in fictional narratives. They offer a break from the discomfort of disconnection, a way to escape the emptiness that seems to grow day by day. However, this escape is temporary and illusory. The problems you face in the real world don't disappear while you are immersed in series or books. They just wait for the moment to be confronted. It's important to recognize when entertainment is becoming a mechanism for escape. Real life, no matter how painful, is where your mission must be fulfilled. Fictional universes may offer momentary solace, but true growth and transformation occur here, in the real world. Facing loneliness rather than fleeing from it is the only way to heal and advance spiritually. 10. The feeling of invisibility, when the world doesn't see who you really are. The feeling of being invisible is one of the deepest and most painful forms of loneliness. Even when surrounded by people, even in the midst of conversations and interactions, you can feel as if you are not really there, as if your presence goes unnoticed. For the chosen, this feeling can be even more devastating because you know that you carry a mission and a light within you. But you feel that the world cannot see it. You ask yourself, if I disappeared, would anyone notice? This question reflects the despair of feeling irrelevant, of believing that despite everything you carry, no one really cares. This kind of loneliness is not just physical, but spiritual. It is the feeling that even in your divine mission, no one recognizes or values what you are doing. But know this, God sees you. Even when the world seems blind to your existence, the Creator recognizes every step you take, every effort you make. You are never truly invisible in God's eyes, and your mission never goes unnoticed. However, this feeling of invisibility may be an invitation to reconnect with your true identity, to remind yourself that your value is not in the recognition of others, but in your faithfulness to your mission. 11. Overvaluing small interactions, a reflection of the hunger for connection. When we are starving, any piece of bread seems like a feast. Similarly, when loneliness weighs heavily, small interactions that would normally go unnoticed become sources of hope and meaning. A smile from a stranger, a friendly comment at work, a brief compliment. All these things can be amplified in your mind, becoming moments that you remember and analyze repeatedly. This desire for more meaningful interactions makes you attribute great value to small gestures. Not because they are necessarily grand, but because your soul is crying out for connection. You so desperately want to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, that these small moments become monuments of hope, even if fleeting. Understand that these small gestures are important, but they should not be your only source of emotional nourishment. As a chosen one, you are destined for deeper connections, but it takes patience and faith for them to manifest. Don't settle for emotional crumbs. Keep searching, keep opening yourself to the connections that will truly touch your soul and feed it. The loneliness in the journey of the chosen can be devastating, but by recognizing these 11 signs, you can start to take steps to relieve this burden. Don't let this isolation define you. Remember that even when the world feels distant and disconnected, God is by your side, witnessing every step of your walk. Your mission is unique, and while the path may feel lonely, you are not truly alone. There are others like you, scattered across the world, facing the same struggles and challenges. And most importantly, God is always present, offering guidance, comfort, and strength. If you identify with these signs, leave a comment. I am chosen. This will not only affirm your journey, but also help create a community of people who share this unique experience. Subscribe to the channel for more messages of strength and encouragement. Remember, together, we can carry this burden and turn it into a journey of light and purpose.